So it gives us a good chance to, it's a good effort, I would say, in short.
It's a good platform to come together.
It's a good platform, but I would have been very happy if there had been more people.
Okay.
And if all the speakers who are here, if we had been told, at least from our organizations, get some people, we would have got some more. Because typically what happens, the best thing for people like us who are at the fag end of a career is to have more and more people to hear. And I wish the interaction was more. Because we learn a lot from the young minds, fresh minds.
Okay. So redefining the HR role for an aspiring HR executive, what would be the haves and have-nots that you would recommend?
See, the first thing that an aspiring HR executive must do is understand that he or she has to understand the business. And right from the word go, initially, typically.
Sorry to interrupt, but by understanding, you mean the core of the business, the handling of it, the day-to-day handling of it, or everything?
No, okay. It all depends. Like, you are at the lower end, so you will want to see what your counterparts in that level are doing in the business. You can't ask what the CEO is doing. Now, as you move up, you must be in touch with your level roles in the business. So typically what's happened is the business fellows move to HR for the career moves to become a CEO. The HR people never go to business. So the HR guy should always say, sir, please allow me to go and be an engineer, site engineer, customer service cell officer, or a production engineer in the refinery, whatever. Moment he does that, he is able to handle the HR with empathy. It's like, somebody who does the postmortem, he does postmortem every day. There is no feeling. But if it is his own somebody in his family, he is doing the postmortem, feeling will come. So when he has handled the business, he can handle HR delivery with empathy. So that is the first thing that I would tell the aspiring HR executive.
Okay. Talent management, dealing with the academia, how tough is the task today?
No, I didn't quite get your question. Talent management?
Talent management, dealing with the brightest, the college freshers who come out, or you go and, pick students, recruit from the student community. Is there a tough task to do at this point of time? Because matching...
Earlier, there was a time when public sectors used to go to the campuses. Last few years, there has been a Supreme Court case. We are not allowed to go to the campuses. So that is the position there. But what we do is we have this all India recruitment, and managing the young people is quite a challenge, I would say. In the sense, the aspirations are very different, and it is very, very, what would I say, you have to be mindful of the fact that this young kid who has come, you should not snuff him out. Typically, most of us, we have a very command and control. We have urgent things to do. We don't have time for curious questions from a youngster. So we snuff them out. We should not snuff out the curiosity. So that is what I would, be very mindful of. If that person is not able to make a difference to your company and you are not able to groom him, then you should part as friends. But don't cast aspersions that these days, somebody said youngsters don't have value for this, they don't respect seniors, they don't do this. Like, for example, I'm a very God-fearing kind of, we've been brought up that way. I go and do my puja every day. So today is my son's birthday. So I said, bete, aaj puja kar le. No, his puja was like he didn't know where to put the flowers, he didn't know. But then I realized, at least he's able to do this. I should not punish him because he doesn't know. It's not his fault, it's my fault.
The
so I think
is there. The first step is there, so you should just let him go.
But you should let them be. That's my second thing.
Okay. This outsourcing, do you think it has curtailed the organizational oneness that used to be there in organizations earlier?
No, outsourcing has not curtailed the organization oneness, because you will always have a very core group of people who are managing the business. Outsourced work is that work where you are able to get the work at a cheaper price, and or suddenly you get a big order, you have to scale up. Outsourcing has, but I think your question is about outsourcing HR.
Outsourcing anything. Outsourcing HR
outsourcing production we do. It doesn't affect the oneness of the company at all. But if you outsource a function, I don't think it affects. I can't think of any example.
Okay. So I have a question. So we talk about the HR transformation from service-oriented to process-oriented, and now it's insight-driven industry. So how we are coming up on the public sector, that how we deal with this HR transformation. Has that transformation been already done in the public sectors, what we can see in private sectors?
See, I don't know, your question is a little confusing to me. There's nothing that has happened in the private sector which has not happened in the public sector. Public sector, good thing is that people are rotated. HR guy, he has to work through various places, production, manufacturing, LPG, etc., before he is able to come to HR. So we handle it that way, because typically what happens, somebody who joins, he joins for life. Whereas in a private sector, he joins, in 2 years, 3 years, he looks for another job. So does that answer your question?
HR guys are enablers of change. Your thoughts on this?
HR guys have to be the enablers of change because they have to manage the change. And the biggest thing, say, right now at my level is, how do I manage the boardroom politics?
Okay.
That is how I bring in value. Somebody asked, how does HR bring in value? HR brings in value the moment the business people come to you and you are the agony aunts. If they have a problem, they come to you. And you tell them, hey, do this, hey, do this. Because most of the issues are figuring around human beings. But you must have that connect with the people. You can't be hoity-toity and sitting there and do a bell curve and say, this is what it is, and these are the set of regulations. If you don't follow, I will do this. So that is what distances the HR from the business.
So is HR a friend or foe?
Yes. That's a question I don't understand. HR, having said, see, it's not about being very nice to people also. You have to be nice to the company.
Okay.
So there's a balance of friend and foe.
Okay.
It's not one or, it's not either or, it's both.
It's both. Thank you for your time.